If you're doubting Alabama football and you think that this team is somehow going to win less than 10 games this year, please hit me up on social media. Instagram, Twitter, whatever platform you be on, please DM me and make a bet with me, because I would love to take your money. If you think that Alabama is going to win 10 games or less, I think you're tripping, and I think you're smoking some dead good kush, and you got to send me your plug, man, because I want to know where you getting that smoke from if you think that Alabama has a chance at winning less than 10 games, man. Do you not know that Alabama has the highest blue chip ratio in all of college football? 90% of their roster is comprised of 5-star, 4-star players. The second team behind them is Ohio State at 85%. Alabama has had either the number 1 or number 2 recruiting class every single year since 2018. And if you think that Alabama is just going to fall apart this year, it's going to be because you don't believe in Nick Saban. And if you don't believe in Nick Saban, the greatest coach in college football history, then I really am tempted to call you either a biased fan, maybe you're an LSU fan or an Auburn fan or something like that. But I think you're really bold and you're really brave to come on here and say that Alabama is going to win less than 10 games, man, because the problem with Alabama is not talent. They have plenty of talent. The thing with Alabama is coaching. And even though Alabama had what most people consider in Alabama standards to be a down year last year, if you want to say they got carried by Bryce Young and Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. But Alabama and Nick Saban, they made a lot of changes on this coaching staff. And I know not a lot of people were high on the hiring of Tommy Rees and bringing in Kevin Steele, who they stole from Miami as their DC. But if you don't trust Tommy Rees or Kevin Steele, at least trust Nick Saban. Even if you're a hater of Alabama or you're a fan of a rival school of Alabama, I think you should at least give Nick Saban the benefit of a doubt. Bias aside, this dude is the best coach in college football. One thing that Nick Saban does a really good job at is being able to adapt. And if you're somebody who questions Nick Saban deciding to want to change his offensive and defensive philosophy, I think also I wouldn't do that neither. I think you're a little bit bold to question Nick Saban's offensive philosophy and defensive philosophy change. This dude knows his football. He's one of the greatest coaches in college football history for a reason. So I'm going to trust his judgment. If he thinks something needs to be changed, I'm going to give him the benefit of a doubt because he has proven time in and time out to get the job done. He wouldn't be considered the GOAT for no reason. And if you think Alabama's going to win less than 10 games, you're telling me that they're going to have 3 or 4 losses potentially? Who are they going to lose to? I don't care how many games they would have lost last year without Jahmyr Gibbs and Bryce Young. That's last year. Talk about 2023. I don't give a damn about what happened in 2022. You see, that's what kind of irritates me with some of y'all folks, man. Y'all try to judge football based off history. History doesn't win games and it doesn't win championships. Judge Alabama for the team they have on the field going into 2023. You mean to tell me that you think that Nick Saban is going to have back-to-back losses to LSU and Tennessee at home? Do you not know the last time Alabama lost at home? It was 2019 to LSU, who was led by Heisman Trophy winner Joe Burrow and one of the greatest teams in the history of college football. Their second loss before that was 4 years prior to Ole Miss. They don't lose at home. So if you think that Alabama is going to win less than 10 games, you're telling me that they're either going to lose to Texas, LSU, or they're going to lose to Tennessee at home, a place that they barely lose at. Do you not know how good you have to be to beat Alabama at home? And even then, last year, Tennessee and LSU, they were blessed to beat Alabama last year. Like, truthfully, if you're an LSU fan, Tennessee fan, put your bias aside and just admit that you barely beat Alabama. LSU beat Alabama by a miracle 2-point conversion. Tennessee beat Alabama at home with a miracle field goal make. You beat Alabama when they have to travel to your house. Traveling to Bryant-Denny Stadium is completely different animal. Alabama, I don't get how people can literally, with a straight face, tell me that this team is going to win less than 10 games. I think you have to be absolutely absurd out of your damn mind to believe that's going to happen. Like, even some of y'all folks saying that don't even believe that's going to happen. How many of you guys truthfully believe Alabama's going to win less than 10 games? If you believe that, please hit me up on Twitter at JTSports__ or on Instagram at JTSports_, and please put your money where your mouth is, because I would love to take your money if you believe that Alabama in God's ever-loving green earth in the year 2023 with Nick Saban as their head coach is going to win less than 10 games. The only way Alabama wins less than 10 games if his hell freezes over, man. Alabama winning less than 10 games? Do you not know how crazy that is? These guys have brought in the number 1 and number 2 recruiting classes for every year since 2018. Talent is not the issue. They have plenty of talent on the defense side of the football. Have you not seen Dallas Turner? This dude looks like something that you see on an X-Men movie. Do you not see how this man is built? They got Kool-Aid McKinstry, who many people believe is going to be the first cornerback taken off the board in next year's draft. I know, we got concerns about who's going to be starting at QB. But it's not like I think quarterback play is going to hold back Alabama. Do you guys not remember that Alabama went to the college football playoffs with Blake Sims? Blake Sims? If you can make it to the college football playoffs with Blake Sims, I'm pretty sure you can make it with Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson, or Tyler Buckner. Come on, man. Like, I don't think Alabama is going to be held back by quarterback play, man. What's good with y'all in the chat, man? What's going on with y'all in the chat? Like, do y'all think that Alabama, for the people that's watching this live, are going to win less than 10 games? Like, I think you have to be tripping really hard and smoking some good ganja if you think that Alabama in the year 2023 is going to lose less than 10 games, bringing in the number 1 and number 2 recruiting classes for every year since 2018 and barely losing on the road to LSU and Tennessee. Where do you see more than 2 losses on Alabama's schedule? Tell me, you think they're going to lose to Middle Tennessee State? Absolutely not. You think they're going to lose to Texas? Like, there's a good chance they lose to Texas. There is a good chance. I'm not going to sleep on Texas and not like Texas doesn't have a shot to beat them. But you mean to tell me you can see them losing to USF? Ole Miss, which I love me some Lane Kiffin. I love me some Ole Miss. But I don't think Ole Miss is good enough to beat Alabama this year, even on a down year. Like, a down year for Alabama is a great year for most programs, man. You think they're going to beat Mississippi State? RIP Mike Leach? But I don't think that's going to happen. Texas A&M, okay. I think Texas A&M got a shot this year to beat Alabama. I do. I love me some Texas A&M this year. I believe in Bobby Petrino. I believe in Connor Wickman. And you know that Texas A&M always gets a lot of close games when they play Alabama the majority of times. But then you telling me that they're going to lose for a second consecutive year at home against Tennessee and LSU? Those teams barely beat Alabama in their own house last year. I doubt they do it for a second time in a year. Kentucky, I think Kentucky is heavily underrated going into this year, but Kentucky doesn't have the horses to go toe-to-toe with Alabama. Okay, let's just keep it a stack. Chattanooga, they paid Chattanooga to blow them out. And then they got to play Auburn. Listen, Hugh Freeze is really good at pulling off upsets, but Auburn doesn't have a good squad this year. They don't. They fit that transfer portal really hard, but I don't think Auburn's going to be able to beat Alabama. They may be able to keep it close because it is the Iron Bowl and it is a huge rivalry game, but where do you realistically see more than 2 losses on Alabama's schedule? Like, I can get being skeptical about Alabama's quarterback situation, but it's not like they don't have 3 talented QBs on the roster. Somebody said, like, if you got 2 QBs, you don't have a QB. That's absolutely wrong. Alabama had what? Mac Jones and Tua and Jalen Hurts all on one roster at one point? Come on, man. Like, I doubt that all 3 of these quarterbacks, if they get the opportunity to start this year, are going to all be completely buns. One of these guys is going to end up hitting, because when is the last time Alabama had terrible quarterback play? Even if you don't have good QB play on par to what you have had in previous years, going from Bryce Young to Mac Jones and Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts, but with Nick Saban being your head coach, Alabama is always going to have an opportunity to win. If you're doubting Alabama and you think they're going to win less than 10 games, that means that you're doubting Nick Saban. When Nick Saban has proven time in and time out to be able to overcome the obstacles, he's been able to adapt. I get being skeptical about, coming from a perspective of saying that, okay, Alabama has concerns about the offensive line, Alabama has concerns at receiver, but it's not like they don't have talent. The talent's there for Alabama to be great this year. It's just all about, is the coaching going to be there? And even if Tommy Rees isn't better than what Bill O'Brien was, I don't think the bar is set too high at OC. A lot of Bama fans were not thrilled with Bill O'Brien. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't great. Bill O'Brien is probably the worst OC that Nick Saban has had in a very long time. Normally, if you coach under Nick Saban, you get a head coaching job. Look at Mike Locksley. Look at Lane Kiffin. Normally going to Alabama is being seen as a stepping stone to something greater. But for the previous coordinators he had, they were not that great. Pete Golding was not a good DC. I don't care what the stats say. Like, I was going back and forth with an Ole Miss fan. Like, Pete Golding was not a good DC. If Pete Golding was a good DC, do you think he would have left Alabama for Ole Miss? Or do you think he would have gotten a head coaching job? He went to a worse program. If he was a good coordinator, Pete Golding would have remained on Alabama staff. Like, I trust Nick Saban. You may not be all that confident in his staff hires, but I trust his judgment. If Nick Saban wants to change his offense, I trust his judgment with that, because this is the goal for a reason. He has a way better understanding of the game of football than what me and you have as fans. I'm not saying you got to believe in Alabama. You can doubt Alabama all you want to, but if you are, please DM me on Instagram and Twitter. I would love to take your money if you think that Alabama is going to lose more than 2 games this year. You think they're going to go 9-3, 8-4? Please, you can follow me on Instagram and DM me at JTSports_, and you can find me on Twitter at JTSports__. If you really think that Alabama's going to win less than 10 games this year, please DM me. Please DM me. And when you end up being wrong, pay up. Don't be one of those people that I gotta come find you now.